This is a quick video, hopefully, follow-up to my last video about going in a little early. I was thinking about doing a quick video anyway, but this is motivated more because it was a commenter who really took me to task. Bob Joe, okay? I'm not calling you out, dude. Just that you, initially I thought you were effing with me. But his third comment, and maybe he's posted more because this is literally a few minutes ago. His third comment got me to thinking. Because the first one was like, your video's shit. Your advice is shit. And I fired back. I'm a keyboard warrior. I'm of the old time forums. And I built quite a reputation for myself back in the day in the forums. Not to take shit, you know. But that's as far as it goes in the sense that I'm a keyboard warrior. I could hit you with the keyboard. Bah, 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 bah. So, you know, I was like, you're gonna shit on me on my channel? Okay, whatever, let's go at it. So I thought he was just shitting with me. But his third post showed me that he actually he had a point. His comment was, you know, you're telling these guys to go in early to be taken advantage of. I did respond to that anyway, and I said, what are you talking about? This is just, it's your time. You go in an hour early, it's your time, because you're not punched in. You cannot work the floor, because no hospital is going to want you to work the floor when you're not punched in, because you're not an employee at that moment. You're not covered by liability insurance and all that. You're just you're like a family member walking off the street. They don't want you on the floor. You can't give meds. You can't do any of that crap. You got to be punched in to do that. So I was like, what are you talking about? They're not in yet. They're not in the system yet, you know? So that was my reply to him back. And my initial reply to him back was like, dude, you know, basically shut the F up. I was like, what are you talking about? This is just for people that are having trouble, new nurses. An extra bit of time hurts nobody. It's extra time off your time. You know, whoever you're listening in and you're going in to help you hone your craft a little bit. You know, it's like you're doing an extra couple of reps in the gym. You're running some extra sprints in the gym for basketball, or doing another 100 shots, free throws, or something like that, or running routes or whatever, in football or what have you, or you know, hitting against the wall for tennis. It's just reps. You're basically putting some extra time in that you're beholden to nobody but yourself. And that's what I was saying to him, my reply to him on his third comment. And I said, you know, I better elaborate a little bit. I don't want to get into a flame war with him or anything like that. I mean, I really do appreciate his counterpoint, even though it was like, shit. You know, I was like, yo, elaborate on that a little bit, please. And that's actually was one of his posts. Is like, your advice is shit. And I was like, please elaborate, because how does extra practice make it a shit advice? But then his third comment cleared that up for me, at least. And I'm sorry, Bob. Bob Joe. I don't mean to get into it with you, but I felt this warranted a video, short one, hopefully, to clear that air, or at least explain myself. You know, and you know, I understand his point of view. It's like, hey, they're going to be taken advantage of when they go in early. Sorry, they're fighting too. When you go in early, like I'm suggesting, you're not punching in. You can't punch in an hour early. They're not going to pay you, first of all, and you're going to get talked to. You can't punch in an hour early. They don't want to pay you that time, all right? So that's what my angle was from. Is like, it's your time. You find out John Smith is your patient. Jane Blow is, you know, Jane Doe, whatever. Joe Blow is what I was thinking in my mind, is your patient. So those are your two patients. For him, he's in CVICU too. Bob Joe is in CVICU, that's a shitstorm in itself. It's a 12-hour RT all the time, you know. So I totally get where you're coming from. You got all freshies, you know. On our CVICU, we have maybe 10, maybe 12 beds, 3 crash carts, and one of them is a chest opener. So, like, you know, CVICU is no fucking joke. I totally see where he's coming from. That's his arena. I wouldn't step a toe into that arena. It's beyond my skill set. I'm not messing with that, okay? But he says he goes in like 15 minutes early and that's all he needs. That's fine. And I say, hey, if it works for you, and I said this in the original video, if it works for you, that's great. The video's aimed for people it's not working for. Like my daughter, she's still kind of not doing that. Maybe she upped it 10 minutes early or something. She's really, I can tell when she leaves, whatever. The hospital's so far away, whatever, I know what time she gets there. So she's not even taking my advice. So don't get me wrong. I'm not here saying, hey, everybody should listen to my advice. My own daughter doesn't listen to my advice. Whatever. But she's having trouble. I say, look, put a little extra time to it. And that's what I'm saying. Just put a little extra time if you're having trouble, if the shift is getting away from you. And, there was another commenter. He made a really good point on the same thread about your shift will become easier as you gain more and more experience. You'll get time within that 12 hours. Even if you always show up at 6:59 or like my friend, 7:01, your 12-hour shift will get easier and easier as you gain experience because you become better at your craft and you find that time. You're not set up for failure. It's not like the old days where you got, 4 patients in ICU. Some people still do that on occasion, by the way, but not regularly. You don't go beyond that. You're not getting 8, 9, 10 patients in med surg. Then you're getting shit care. And that was the case back then, and that was, whatever. Now it's getting more and more to a better standard where we can actually provide good nursing care. And that's where I'm talking about, okay? So those are the prefaces. Going in early is your own time. Like I was saying to Bob Joe, like, you don't have to look up the patients. If you want to drink coffee, meditate, and just de-stress before your shift, that helps too. A lot of people are rushing in and whatever, and they're like, oh shit, I forgot my daughter's lunch. Oh my God, I've got to pick up my son at 7:15 right after shift. Do you think I can get the other nurse to come in a little early? Oh my God, they're already stressing. And that makes the 12 hours that they still have in front of them that much harder. And de-stressing, if you want to put, that hour to de-stressing, just relaxing, sipping on your coffee, watching your K-pop, gossiping, that's fine too. My point of the matter of coming in early was to make your 12 hours early. It doesn't have to be looking at the notes, but it helps, And like I said to Bob, those 12 hours, what it's like. You're drawing labs, you're answering the residents' questions. Even in night shift, you're doing some degree. If you're day shift, which I suspect he is, you've got to deal with family and the patient. I even said that. I was like, you don't even have to talk to the patient that hour before. You don't have to talk to anyone. That is your time. You could find out who your patients are, going back to that point. John and Joe, you can go off shift, go to another unit, log in at Baker Cerna and say, okay, and then start taking your notes there, and then go back up 6:45 or 6:50 or 6:59, whatever, and then say, hey, Bob, I'm here. Let me have it. But I mean, you don't have to be on the unit. Don't let anybody take advantage of you, like Bob says. That's a good point. And that's actually a good point, because when I first started, he's right. When I was there an hour and a half early, oh my God, they loved me because they could do med count early, although I wouldn't do it with them. I say, no, you can have my finger and that's about it. Here, They could, have the, someone help out turn or pull a boost. I just learned to sit further and further back into the residence area or off, out of sight. And I'm like, after a while, they learn not to call me. I'm not clocked in. It happens though. That was actually one of the stories in my, when I was a tech, I got sent to the ER. I helped before I clocked in. It could have been bad, but Joint Commission was right there. They weren't about to give me any shit because I got injured right in front of Joint Commission, literally. But I was in before the clock. I've learned not to do that. So don't get me wrong. I see Bob's point. When he posted that third comment, it's like, oh, he's not just trolling me. He's not just busting my balls. He's got an actual point. And it's pertinent. It is actually a pertinent point that required a video. I'm going to try to cut it off very soon because it's already 10 minutes. And I wanted this to be short. It was just a reply video. I wanted to really elaborate and expand on what I meant by going in an hour early, because I could see where Bob thought I was just like, oh, you're just throwing them to the meat grinder. And he's right. You can get taken advantage of. But know that you're not supposed to be working until you're punched in. When you're clocked in, then you work. 2, learn to say no. That's where I was saying in the previous video, or maybe even in that video somewhere, where, you know, we're givers. Nurses are givers. We need to set limits, because takers have no limits. They're going to take. They don't care if you're dry, they'll take more. So in that sense, Bob is actually 100% right. Like, you should not keep giving. You can't give that hour that you set aside for your benefit and give it to the unit. I'm not saying that, and and that's why, you know, maybe my daughter's thinking that. I said, no, I'm not saying give free time, free money to the man. Forget that. There's no loyalties here. Okay, I'm just saying, do your job well. This advice is to protect you, protect your license, protect your patients. You know, because you just give them better care by doing that. Okay, so hopefully this clarifies that little point. I'm going to cut it off here and post this real quick, and then, you know, hopefully Bob and I don't get into a big argument. Okay, good luck.